This week, I crushed a 10K PB, box squatted over double body weight 2 days later for 5 reps, all while getting noticeably leaner. Keep watching to see how my endurance and athletics challenge is coming along this week. It would be foolish of me not to kick off this video without talking about my first ever 10K officiated chipped timed race. It was a massive 4-minute personal best around Snetterton racetrack. What better place to do my first ever 10K than around a racetrack, the home racetrack of me just up the road from my house, combining both my love for this journey, for physical activity, and also motorsport. It was an absolutely sick experience racing around a track that I'd spent plenty of time both watching racing as well as coaching drivers at.
Our racing, of course, look out for
Did wind me up a little bit that we raced the wrong way around the track, but hey ho. I had an absolutely sick time racing, soaking up the atmosphere and enjoying my first ever chip time race. Big shout out to my friend Toby, who came down pretty late, pretty last minute to come down and race with me, and a banging effort on him on his time too. As I'd never done a official 10K race before, I hadn't pushed myself as hard perhaps as I could have done on a flat surface, on flat ground before. I didn't go out with a race strategy in mind other than just go out, see how I feel, and base it based off my breathing, how I felt during the race. I went out pretty hard, way harder than I perhaps intended to, but then settled into a nice little rhythm as I found myself around the track after that first pit straight, and then just worked my way around the track for the 2 laps that we were doing, with the aim of going really hard out for those last 2 or 3 kilometers with everything I've got left. And that felt good. It felt perfect to set into that nice little rhythm, and I felt like I had nothing left to give at the end of the 10K. It was a friggin' hot day. It was like 26 degrees at least during the daytime, so the track had got pretty hot. The race was delayed by at least 20 minutes. I think that really helped with that race result. Not being in the position where it's quite so hot allowed it to cool down a little bit more into the evening with that race being delayed. And I think that played a big part in how I felt being able to run as hard as I ran. Now, enough about the race. I'm going to talk a little about the training that I'd done this week in order to accommodate this big race in the middle of the week. I'd usually be in the position where I'd hit an upper and a lower with some cardio, some hard intervals, and some easy cardio early in the week, and then take a day off in the middle of the week before repeating that. This week, to get that 10K in, the way I switched things around is I did a push and a pull at the beginning of the week, so I still kept some training volume for that long-term progression throughout this journey. Not put in my heavy intervals or hard cardio early in the week in preparation to fit this 10K hard effort in on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, I intended to go in and do some light recovery, some easy work. I just found that in the morning, I wasn't going to get out of bed, and the extra sleep was something that was so valuable to me for dropping in to work that day. On Friday, just 2 days after the race, pushing out some legs in a total body session. Squatting and hip thrusting is my 2 primary leg exercises. Starting to remove a load of my lower body volume to start to work on that upper body. I can talk more about that later as we go through the journey. I box squatted 140, which is over double body weight, for 5 reps on this day. Big, massive effort, felt nice and clean, and no problems with my groin that had been plaguing me for the last probably 8 weeks, struggling to get into a full depth squat position. So swap this out for box squats for the last kind of 6 weeks at least, but felt really strong and no pain in my groin. Saturday, I wanted to get out onto some trail running. I love trail running, so much more fun than getting out on a road and a path by the side with loads of cars, just disappearing into the world. I friggin' love it. Holler at me if you love your trail running as well, just disappearing out into the fields, onto some tracks. Decided to go out for about an hour and a half, 15K. Looking back on my Strava, cheeky 15k personal best as well. Wasn't pushing it at all. It wasn't a hard 15k, not too hard efforts in the week. Last time I did 15k, it was averaging somewhere below 150 heart rate, and that's exactly what I was going out for. Just go out and enjoy the run. This run was about 4 or 5 minutes faster the last time I did 15k over, again, mixed terrain. So super pleased to get out, get some good miles in the legs and that nice aerobic work to end the week. 10 weeks out now, and I am noticeably leaner, feeling good, starting to see more of those striations, those stripes in the muscles, starting to see a little bit more definition. My weight has been tracking down for this first week, 2 weeks leading into this journey. So really pleased with how my food has been going. I had a little bit of a struggle early in the week by my macros not adding up the way that I anticipated. Shopped at a different shop. So my Morrison's chicken thighs compared to the Lidl's chicken thighs had way more fat in them. So I really struggled with food volume early in the week. I felt hungry. It was difficult because I wasn't able to eat the volume of food I had been eating with the leaner chicken thighs. That extra fat just made it more difficult adding calories in where I wasn't expecting it. So big tip is, when you are shopping, if you do change supermarkets, definitely have a look at the macros. And if you're tracking those calories, definitely make sure that you change the one product out for another product, just to make sure that we're always going to be hitting the calories that we're expecting. And we don't get stuck in the position where I was, feeling hungry or feeling tired because the food isn't adding up the way that you expect. On the whole, an absolutely class week with some really high highs despite some of the food challenges. Rolling into a couple of weeks of annual leave now to work on some of these projects, including behind me. You've probably seen I've already painted my wall if you've seen that first video. Big shout out to Mum for doing some of the cutting in on that. Rolling into a family barbecue today, and then moving into the next week, trying to bring that weight down. Talk about a little bit more about some of the changes that I'm going to do in my training over the coming weeks to lead up to both the bodybuilding and the 10k trail run. Stay tuned as I continue my hybrid journey of endurance and bodybuilding. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as I bring you more and more of this adventure and more hybrid content.